Okay, welcome to, we're calling this the Steady State Show. Steady state as in like cardio show. It's not a podcast. I'm never going to call this a podcast. While it kind of seems and feels like a podcast, it is not a podcast. At least yet. I don't know. I don't know what this is. This is just going to be me. I'm able to talk about anything I want to talk about. It's training, food, hobbies, challenges that I'm trying to do. The big thing here is I like to work out. I like to challenge myself. I like to help train other people. I like food. And then I have some other hobbies that we'll touch on from time to time. I want to be a completely non-political space. And I want to be a platform on YouTube. YouTube is the platform. I want to be a space where it seems like YouTube has been so overrun with basically corporations. And that's not what this is about, okay? Nothing against it. It can happen. You have the Rogans, you have Theo Vaughn, you have all the guys, right? This is not that. This is a normal guy coming to you, talking about essentially whatever we want to talk about. Very professional setup, as you can see. Today, we are going to be primarily talking about kind of finding your purpose when it comes to training. Some things that I've learned along the way of training specifically for an Ironman and triathlon at the moment. That's what I've been training for the past 15 weeks or so, 13 weeks. We're 46 days out, something along those lines. And we're really at the peak right now, a lot of volume. And on top of that, we're just going to talk about some food options, some equipment options, whatever. Okay. Let me grab something real quick. All right. This is going to be a very casual space here, at least to start. So we just wrapped up big first week of our second build phase. 100-mile bike ride with a 4-mile or 3-mile run afterwards, followed by a 15-mile run the next day. And I'm going to be doing that for the next 3 weeks. I've had to get a lot of equipment, and I'm kind of doing this all on a budget. So what we're going to talk about here is going to be first the equipment that I think you need when it comes to training for a triathlon, the necessities, along with what I think are the best options, the things you really need to avoid falling into. There's a lot of traps. Triathlon's a very expensive sport, so it can kind of bend you over pretty quickly if you aren't careful. Couple things here first, okay? First thing I want to talk about is going to be my tri-suit. Pretty much because this came the most recent. This is the most recent thing I've got, and I'm just rocking shorts, okay? They're a little soggy. I had a bike ride today, and I haven't washed them yet, so that's why I'm holding them like this. So I went with the Zoot tri-shorts, okay? The Zoot LTD, I believe. Just the short. Went with the short because I'm going to be representing kind of a cause that I'm trying to stand up for in all this, in trying to fight childhood obesity. I really think childhood obesity is something that we need to bring more awareness to, but on top of that, we really need to focus on the next generation. We have this tendency, and it happens with every generation, where we find ourselves to be the best, and the next generation is soft, or they don't have it as hard as us, and they just have these problems. And we know that's because the world that we are putting them in. We know that, right? Like, the world that we grew up in me as a 24-year-old, wasn't the same as my parents because of my parents, the world that they created, their generation created. That's just how it goes. We are not a linear society, and I think it's completely delusional for us to think that we are, and to think that we are just going to ride this path of like continual increase in our sustainability, in our innovation, in our knowledge, in our health, physically, mentally, spiritually. Everything can't just keep going up. And we're seeing that. Kids are more distracted than ever. They are fatter than ever. They are less motivated than ever. And that kind of brings us again to this whole thing of finding purpose. And you can find a lot of purpose in training. But I don't want training to become your purpose. And we'll get to that later on in this video. But doing hard things, training, setting goals, it forces you to focus, and it's obviously great for your health, right? We know physical activity is great for your health, eating healthy, great for your health, mentally and spiritually. It's like reading. If you throw reading in on all of that, it exponentially, right? It just makes it that much better. Anyways, the Zoot tri-shorts. So very thin chamois. I've gone through a couple chamois. I had Pearl Izumi. I had one of their chamois. I hated it. I think it was I can't remember what it was called. I picked it up at REI and it just did not work out well. I'll see if I can pull it up here. Basically, what I was running into and what I've ran into a lot is the creases. The transfer. Pearl Izumi transfer shorts. They're pretty cheap. They're like $60 and they have a pretty thick chamois, but the creases rub the wrong things, okay? Gather from that what you want. 4 hours of a seam rubbing on an area that has no business being rubbed like that and pinched. It's brutal. And then you get sweat in there, and then you get chamois butter in there, and it's not something you want to experience, okay? So what I want you to do is take this information that I'm giving to you and really use it. Get a chamois that's going to work well. The Pearl Izumi transfer shorts, in my opinion, sucked ass. These, they have a thin pad. You're able to run in them after. I've done 100 miles in them. They felt fine. It's never going to be super comfortable, but they worked out well, and you're able to run in them great afterwards. You don't wear underwear in your chamois. It took me a long time to realize that. Most people probably already know that. Zoot tri shorts, they're $100. They aren't too bad. I was going to go with Roka, but they only have extra small. I don't know how that makes any sense, but that was the case, so Roka did not get my business. So number one, Zoot tri shorts. Number two, I just scooped up this Koros heart rate monitor, okay? So it goes around your bicep. It's Explore Perfection. That's what it says on it. I think it's the Koros Explore. I couldn't tell you. It goes around the bicep. I like it. It's rechargeable, so you don't burn through batteries. The one thing I will say is I'm getting a rash on my lat from running. It like rubs on my lat. So if you're a big backed individual like me, you can run into that. I got to move it down on my bicep a little bit lower, and then it just kind of doesn't feel right. It's a little bit below the actual like belly of my bicep muscle. so it doesn't feel really secure, and it kind of, like, my bicep kind of slides underneath it. Very strange feeling. Outside of that, I love it. You just pop the strap off afterwards, like, boom, boom, boom. It just slides out. Rinse this, and you wash this. Again, this is kind of wet. I got to get better about cleaning my things immediately after a workout, because that is soggy. Shorts are soggy. Coros heart rate monitor. It's great because triathlon is, how do I put it? You're trying to perfect a lot of different things. And I say perfect very loosely. I use that word very loosely because you aren't perfecting anything, right? Especially someone like me. Like, I'm a novice, amateur, intermediate at best. I have decent fitness, but when it comes to actual, like, run, bike, swim, I'm a little above average. Let's be real. My previous fitness kind of just carries me for the time being. And when I get on the bike, I'm too damn big to make any serious ground. If you get a heart rate monitor, I am a firm believer in heart rate training. It's a great way. If you aren't even just monitoring and trying to stay in a heart rate zone when you're training, at least it gives you feedback on where you're at. If you feel like you're putting out a ton of effort and your heart rate isn't very high, you might be a little under recovered. Or if your heart rate is jacking up with not a ton of effort, you might be under recovered. A lot of different things can go into it. You might be dehydrated, but it gives you data that you can at least use and plug in when it comes to comparing your workout performances. Not to get too nerdy, because that's not what this is going to be, nor do I really have the credentials to super deep dive into any of this. And the third thing is going to be a wetsuit. I got an Xterra wetsuit. Wetsuit depends on the race. You may not be able to use it. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about a wetsuit. That's something I suggest you go into on your own when it comes to sleeves, sleeveless. If you want one, where your race is, how long is your race. The big thing that I've learned, though, the big thing is it's not what you need to use. It's what you don't need to use, right? And triathlon can get very expensive. So if there is one thing that you have to buy, in my opinion, it's going to be an indoor bike trainer. Something to put your bike on indoors to absolutely freaking crush some miles and get time on the bike. It's super convenient. It's super good for just building fitness. You're able to set the erg, get the legs absolutely pumped up, and there's no hiding. You can't cheat on a trainer. I got the Wahoo Kicker. I scooped it up. If you can find it online, secondhand, I got mine on Facebook Marketplace. The guy sold me the trainer with a bike to go on it. The bike isn't ideal, I'll be honest, but he gave it to me for $200. So I basically have indoor stationary bike, $600 on a trainer. It's the right size, at least, the bike is. And then I hop on Zwift. I cannot recommend Zwift enough. I enjoy riding inside. A lot of people hate on riding inside. Personally, it's kind of like a video game. Sometimes it sucks. I've done a couple 4-hour rides inside. That's not recommended. But you can do it. If it's terrible weather outside, it gives you the option. I have built so much fitness. Absolutely 100% buy an indoor trainer. Cannot recommend it enough. The trap that you have to avoid falling into, and I speak on this from experience, is a bike and these clothes and these outfits. Let's be real, okay? Nick Bare's doing an Ironman. We're going to see an insurgence in how many people are doing Ironman. We're going to see people all across YouTube now doing Ironman again. He started a trend. No shade towards Nick Bare, but everybody thinks they are Nick Bare and they want to be Nick Bare, and he's doing it now, and he's the face of YouTube athletics and hybrid training, and so everybody wants to be like Nick Bare. I get it. I'm a fanboy myself. If I can find the picture I took with him at High Rocks Dallas, I'll put it up. But you aren't, right? And you don't have the same resources as him. You don't look like him. And that's fine. And you probably never will. And that's fine. And if you do, more power to you. That's a whole nother thing we can go on about on another episode in terms of perception of people you see online. Because when I saw him, it was a wake-up call, to put it frank. The point is, you see people doing these things that have more resources, or they already have more at their disposal, whatever it may be, they have more experience. An Ironman triathlon in particular, you see these dudes on their bikes and they look like fucking rocket ships, and they got these helmets on that make them look like fucking ET, and they got bottles everywhere on the bike. They just have storage that holds fluids and carbs, and there's basically an exhaust on the bike to empty the carbohydrates that you're burning off in a way. And they're aero, and they're 3 pounds, and you don't need that. Let's be real, guys. This behind me, the backdrop, this is my Trek, right? Do not fall into the trap of buying a $10,000 bike. I scooped this thing up for $900 secondhand off a guy. 2011, I believe. Trek Madone 5.2. Beautiful bike. Full carbon. Light as a feather. I got on it. I loved it. The thing was fast. I'd never been on a bike that fast. I was like, oh my gosh. Perfect. Like, this is what I needed. This is the bike that I needed, and I'm good. Well, you go home, you pull up YouTube, Instagram, whatever it may be, and you see these dudes on their bikes telling you about how they're doing the work that you're not willing to do, and just making you feel like shit about yourself. And you're like, shoot, I need that bike. Like, they're qualifying for this stuff, and they're going so much faster than me. And you see their Strava and their Garmin and their posts, and you aren't them. And you don't want to be them. That is not why you're doing what you're doing. Get a bike, whatever you can afford, whatever makes sense for you. I threw tri-bars on those, little clip-on aero bars. You can see it right there. They're taped up because they were like falling apart. And yeah, I met a dude who races professionally at the pool, and we've talked here and there. Saw him out on a run one day, and I just recently taped my handlebars back up. They weren't taped back up when I saw him. Bar tape was falling off everywhere. And in a way, I felt like ashamed. I was like, oh my God, dude, this guy's going to think I'm a dweeb. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I look like a dork out here. I'm on this road bike, and I haven't even gotten a bike fit, so I don't look like I even fit on the bike, and tape's falling off everywhere, and I got bottles that are falling out. I got this big ass helmet. My dink's getting chafed by the seams in my chamois. And then as soon as I started talking, I was like, dude, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter how you look out there. When you pass someone on a road bike and they're on a bike that costs 10 times more than you, you know how good that feels? It feels so damn good to blow by people who just didn't put in the same level of work as you did. You built those legs up. Like the great Lance Armstrong said, whatever your opinions are on the man, It's not about the bike. And I don't know what context he meant that in when he wrote the book, but apply that to your legs. It's about the legs. Build up some big, juicy, honking calves and hamstrings and quads and glutes. And you can blow by them. I do it every week. People on their bikes, they think they're big shot out there with their shades and their helmet. Dude, I roll by, I got a Raging Cajun cutoff on. Blow by them. I don't care. I don't care. Do not fall into the trap of blowing money on shit you do not need. Get a bike that makes sense. Spend some time on the damn indoor trainer. Forget about the bike. Buy the trainer. And put in the work. That's all it... That was a longer rant than it needed to be, but that's all it is about. And we're going to go into this second part here. I'm going to talk about this right here. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. It's pretty far away. This is Ketone IQ. Right? And obviously I'm not sponsored. I have 24 subscribers. But this is Ketone IQ, and we've seen a lot of people using this. And apparently there's research behind ketones improving power output, endurance, energy, whatever it may be. Truett Haynes uses it, and you got cyclist teams who are sponsored and endorsed by them. There's something to it, right? So I thought, I'm going to try one. And I didn't for a long time because my girlfriend told me it tasted like shit. I was like, yeah, I don't want to try it. Well, I got one. And it wasn't half bad. It's an acquired taste. Now, she wouldn't like it. But I didn't mind it. A little bit like NyQuil-y almost. But I used to drink that shit in high school to fall asleep. The fact of the matter is that it depends on you when it comes to supplements. Is my girlfriend going to use this? Absolutely not. It tastes too damn gross for her, in her opinion. And that goes for the effects of supplements, the efficacy of them, the cost of them. It's a whole nother thing. And I could go on to a whole nother rant about this, like I did with the bike. The fact of the matter is that we have a lot of companies that are now blasting us with these athletes, if you want to call them athletes. They're people who are kind of like myself. So I guess I'm kind of ripping into myself a little bit here, but I'm not even trying to rip into them. It's just fit people doing things that they enjoy doing, and they do them pretty well. And some of them do them better than other people. And for whatever reason, this gives them a spot. I say for whatever reason, it's obvious. We know what the reason is. But this gives them a platform to tell you what you should and shouldn't use, and you will fall for it. It's marketing, advertising, and there's nothing wrong with that. We live in America. Capitalism, baby. If that's what you're all about. I'm not going to get into that today either. Non-political... What's the word? Non-political atmosphere. But what I want you to know is that these brands blast these supplements and these products to you, and there's always an agenda behind it. And you know what the agenda is and who the target is based on the dialogue of the advertisement. And I mean, this is obvious, right? I'm just stating the obvious. This is literally what marketing and advertising is. But it gets to a point where you form your identity around what you think the company is. So, for example, if I like endurance sports and I have a company that's endurance, we make things for endurance, and we show up when we need to, and we get up at 6 a.m. and we only eat 400 grams of carbs on our 15-mile run. Like, I'm just saying things. But pretty soon, you start waking up at the same time as them, and you start drinking the same things as them, and you start eating the same things as them, and you start saying the same things as these brands, and you start forming in to the brand. And now you are a billboard for the brand that is not paying you. You are paying them. Again, this is obvious. This is what consumerism, I guess, is. But you cannot fall into that. This is all circling back to purpose. It's not inherently bad to find a company that aligns with your beliefs. It's great because it gives you a sense of support and a place to turn to. And a lot of times this is where people are able to find community. That is great. But be very careful and conscious of your actions and the way you think and how those change based on the people, the things that are presented to you really against your will in a way, because everything is designed to give you more of what you want, more of what you think you want, and more of what you're already consuming so much of. It's the algorithm. We know this. Be conscious of it. That being said, let's talk about 3 supplements. Goos. We're going to be covering gels in particular here. I'm just going to tell you 3 gels that I like, my 3 flavors. Okay, number 1. This is probably my second favorite gel. It's going to be Goo Raspberry Lemonade. I have no company bias. Again, I have 24 subscribers. No sponsorship, obviously. Raspberry Lemonade Goo. It's banging. Probably should have done this one first because I'd say this is my third. Controversial take. Girlfriend said this tastes like shit. Pumpkin Goo. I think it tastes like eggnog. I'm a huge eggnog guy. I'm going to say it's number 3 just because I like the raspberry lemonade a little bit more. I could eat more of them. And the goo texture, if I'm being honest, isn't my absolute favorite. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite texture in the world. Third, this is going to be my all-time favorite. That's going to be Honey Stinger. Make sure I grab the right one here. Yeah. Fruit smoothie. Fruit smoothie Honey Stinger. I love the taste of this one. I love the texture of it. And it doesn't upset my stomach. I don't have a whole lot of problems when it comes to goos, gels, and my stomach. Until we get into something that's like trying to take almond butter or something on a run, and then you start choking on it and coats your mouth and you start shitting your pants. One other thing I will say is I do enjoy BPN's G1M Sport. I've tried a few different carb mixes. I will say that is probably my favorite, the lemon lime, in terms of flavor. I feel good on a run afterwards. I do recommend it. BPN G1M carb mix. So we're going to circle all this back here. I think my camera's about to die. So all right, we're back. Camera died. I'm going to give a little content crush shout out here, little segment we're going to have. My content crush, right? We see all these girls, these guys, mainly girls, on Instagram. And one thing that gets me is we give so much credit and attention. And I'm not trying to rip on these girls, man. I'm really not trying to just lay into them. But we give a lot of praise, attention, authority almost to these people who have done really little to nothing impressive. Like when it comes to fitness, if I'm gonna put faith in somebody, it's got to be someone that's done something impressive to me. Like somebody changing their life is impressive. I don't care if you started somewhere and you got somewhere. That is impressive. That process is impressive. But when I see a lot of the, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to just come out and say what I'm talking about. It's these skinny little girls on Instagram. They're like posting these pictures of themselves flexing. They have little to no muscle mass. They have little to no strength. They have little to no cardiovascular capability. But because they look good, we give them our attention and we give them their money, and these brands just throw money at them and we praise them, and it drives me crazy. It really does. So this Lachlan guy, see if I can pull up a video here on the screen for you guys. Came across his video the other day, and basically he just does really hard shit, really cool shit that I really want to do. As simple as that. Lachlan Earnshaw, check him out on YouTube. He has 30.4 thousand subscribers, so a little bit bigger than me by like 30.4 thousand subscribers. Regardless, he does these cool things like, how much can a cyclist earn delivering Uber Eats? This dude rode 12 hours a day for 7 days straight. It's like a full-time job to see how much money you could make on Uber Eats when he lost his job. And he didn't make much money. But he's a beast, man. He did an indoor Ironman. He did an ergathon. He skied 16K, 160K assault bike, 4K row, 42,000 row. He is my no homo content crush of the week. Lachlan Earnshaw. I aspire to be like you. If I can get your level of fitness, I'm going to be doing things hopefully very similar. Now, we're going to wrap this up here as I take one last sip of my ginger ale. So I was thinking about this the other day on my bike ride. I had a 5-hour bike ride. Like I said, we did 100 miles. First time I've ever done 100 miles. Harder than I thought it would be. I don't know why I thought it would be so easy. But it beat me up more than I thought. I was on like a 3-mile loop. 3 or 4 mile loop. For 5.5 hours. 100 miles. All I'm going to say is now my camera, I don't know what it's doing now. My camera's beeping something. Let me look real quick. All right, I don't know where that shut out. So we're going to wrap up this video here. I'm running this on a tiny camera, guys. Like I said, not a very professional setup here. I'm working with what I got. Like I said with the bike, do what you can. Camera overheated. First time I've ever had that happen. So I was thinking about this on my bike ride. And this is something I feel like I've struggled with a lot. And that's purpose. And we struggle with this a lot as a society now. Finding purpose. And I said at the beginning, Finding your purpose in training is okay, but don't make your purpose training. Don't make training become your purpose. Don't feel like that is your purpose. And as a person who has spent over 10 years training consistently, I mean, like, I have not taken over 2 days off in 10 years with concussions, injury, whatever it was. That's not to toot my own horn. I'm just saying I've been very committed to this for a long time for different reasons too. I've struggled with this, hence why I'm making a video about it. And I got into personal training. So my identity very much became wrapped around training and fitness. And I felt like that's who I was. You do these things, you challenge yourself, and you go through a process of development and achieving something that at one point you didn't think you could do, something that scared you. If you do that a lot, you start to think, at least I did, that this is what you were put here to do. Like, we get this sense that we have to find our purpose. Like, you have a purpose, you were put here for this purpose, specific purpose. It's an ever-changing thing. You are not you with these external things around you. It's not you and your purpose, and how can you impose your purpose on other things? Your purpose is intermingled with everything. This, I'm not trying to get religious here or anything, but I started to see that and realize that my purpose isn't working out. My purpose isn't exerting myself as far as I can, as hard as I can, and challenge myself as much as I possibly can. That's not my purpose. But you can learn a lot about yourself when you do those things. I think everyone needs a creative outlet. Everyone needs a physical outlet. Everyone needs an emotional outlet. Don't let one thing become your purpose. Become insanely obsessed with things. Absolutely. Things that you never thought. That's how great things happen. That's how records get broken. Become obsessed. But that's not you. There's so much more to you than all of that. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy. This is what I care about, fitness. But there's more to what I am here for than that. It's not for me. It's what can you do in the world. It's not your purpose. It's where is your purpose in the world. That's the first episode. Hopefully I didn't lose a lot when the camera overheated. See what we can do. We'll improve with time. I mean, I'm well aware this is the first episode. It's probably going to be pretty ass. I'll probably get 3 views on it. I don't care. Key takeaway. And I'm only going to say one. Or the first line. The big key takeaways are get a quality chamois. Zoot, absolutely recommend. Get a bike trainer. Don't fall for the trap of an expensive bike. Outside of that, I mean, keep training hard. Find your purpose somewhere. Ketone IQ. Give it a shot. I tried the raspberry lemonade. Big raspberry lemonade guy, if you couldn't tell. And yeah, that's episode 1. Thanks for watching The Steady State Show.